How's it? Today is Wednesday, May 15th. Got some structure going this week. To start the week, it was a little bit rough. The weekend was really hard. I had worked, 28 hours in 2 days. I don't think I technically worked that long, but I was on my feet for 28 hours, more or less. Not straight, of course. But that meant that Monday was kind of a wash because of how much like volume, just purely on my ankles and my knees and my hips. So my hip flexors were really kind of feeling it on Monday and Tuesday. And honestly, they feel it a little bit today. But I think that a lot of that is residual just not being able to recover properly rather than it being directly from the like Saturday, Sunday, like the accumulation of Monday and Tuesday's work. But for today, basically doing exactly the same thing I did last week, but I'm adding in a few pull type movements at the end. So I'm adding 4 sets of deadlifts in at the end. We're actually keeping the same weights too for all of this because when I talked with Steve on Sunday, he was saying that there's probably no immediate need to push above 100 right now. So basically I'm doing power clean, hang power clean, power jerk, plus jerk up to 100 or doing 3 sets of that. And I'm trying to do this right here, that like little squat jerk as a warm-up. I think that is really helpful for my like vertical dip. And not necessarily saying that like I don't have a vertical dip, even though I don't. But it's more me saying if I can kind of push up out of the drive, if I can push straight up out of the drive, then the rest of my jerks will go well. And like in order for me to do that, in order for me to execute on a squat jerk, then I really need to push up, like straight up. Also, this angle is really, really strange. I came in a little bit late, later than I normally do. Like I'm off today, so it is. I could have came in whenever the hell I wanted to today. But this was the available platform, and I was like, I guess I'm gonna just try to do what I used to do. What I used to do with my GoPros, and so like maybe the focal length is a lot lower on the GoPro, so it's a little bit wider, and I feel like the angle. I don't know. I need to mess with it if I ever want to lift on this platform again. But here's my first set. 100. It is heavy, but it's not heavy. 100 is usually the weight that I put my belt on, and I did not use my belt at all today. I was also debating to do some presses today because I know I didn't do them yesterday. Maybe I'll add them in next week, just because I didn't have them at all this week so far. I do have a day. Technically I have like 3 days where I do overhead work, so that looks like Mondays snatch whatever snatch. Tuesday is nothing. Today is gonna be like the jerk stuff like this. And then Friday is going to be snatch and clean and jerk. So that's just like 3 days. Usually, I feel like one of the things that... Ooh, I'm lightheaded here. I feel like one of the things that I was benefiting a lot from was having a little bit more days where I had more overhead work. There's a lot of like training philosophy about like when you select your accessories and what you should do when you do them. So, you can think about things that are going to be hip extenders, hip flexors. Hip flexors are going to be stuff like squats. Hip extenders are going to be stuff like pulls, knee flexors, knee extenders, all of these things, right? And then one of those things, this is not power clean complex. Watch me fail this though. So this is me trying to do some squat jerks, and I was like, yeah, I can do this. I couldn't do it, but I do come back and make it again. But yeah, going back to what I was saying was that like there's a good kind of mentality about selecting accessories. You can think about things as like vertical push, horizontal push, vertical pull, horizontal pull. You know, things like vertical pushes are going to be push presses, overhead press, snatch push press, even snatch balance. You know, that's like that's a vertical push. Here I'm going into the deadlifts here. Basically do 1, 10, 20, 30, 40 for all sets of 3. And then horizontal push is things like, I guess technically dips can be both vertical and horizontal, depends on how far forward you lean, but like bench press is going to be the primary horizontal push. And then vertical pull would be things like pull-ups, pull-downs, lat press downs, and then horizontal pull is going to be any style of row, you know? So like when you think about kind of your planes of movement and all these things, you can kind of distill your accessory work down to those things. And it's like, okay, if have I done a horizontal pull this week? Okay, no, I haven't. So maybe I should do that this week. Okay, have I done a vertical pull this week? Okay, yeah, I have already done that. Okay, so then that's probably good for, you know, for the remainder of the week, at least if you're trying to hit the thing once a week. Similarly, you have like overhead work. Like overhead, anything is going to be helpful in the long run, you know, as far as accumulating volume or, yeah, I guess accumulating volume. And then another thing is like front rack work, because front rack is imperative for weightlifting, because you need to do the clean, right? And you need to end up doing the jerk from that position. So if you don't have enough time on the front rack, you don't have enough volume built up on the front rack, then having that in your training is probably going to be helpful, right? So these are a lot of the things that more or less my training does fulfill. Some of the things are not present all the time, but I try my best to make sure that I get these types of things going, because that's when I have everything kind of firing all at once, then that's like what it feels to be like the most productive and also the healthiest. So that is, I mean, I wanted to talk about that today because this is kind of the beginning of the next training block. So that's it for today. Thank you for watching. Shoots.